How are you guys doing today? I figured I would do a video that most people probably don't. And that's where I'm going to talk about mistakes that are made and things that happen when you do this kind of stuff. So, as you saw from my previous video where we're out testing, my son and I took the truck out and we did a bunch of wheeling in two-wheel drive. We're playing around. And on the first obstacle, I ended up losing my power steering. Now, back when I was in Michigan, the weather was horrible, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm lazy and I do stuff half-assed, so don't copy me. But I cut my frame rails, and on Sequoias, these two hard lines that go to your power steering reservoir that come down here for your cooler, they're actually attached to the frame with a couple clamps and a 10mm bolt that goes through. And I was being lazy. I didn't want to get the wrenches out and all my sockets and stuff and take that bolt out. So I just left the hoses here, thought I was going to be clever and cut the frame, and I ended up nicking this line. So when I looked it up, this line was, I think cheapest I could find it on Rock Auto was 142 bucks. And I thought, you know what? I'll just put some JB Weld, clean up this little nick. I just barely put a nick through the actual tubing to where the power steering fluid would come out. So I put some JB Weld in there. I overlaid it with some Right Stuff gasket maker, and it made it the rest of the time we were in Michigan, and it never leaked, and I didn't have any issues driving back here 2,000 miles. However, when my son and I went down the first main hill, there was a section where a big rock grabbed this passenger tire and tried to pull the steering wheel out of my hand, which put a lot of extra pressure on the power steering system to hold the wheel straight, and it ended up popping this little fix that I had made. And within probably 5 or 10 minutes, I had leaked all the power steering fluid out. Now, being the person that I am, I decided, you know what? I've driven all the way out here. I'm gonna get some video, get some photos for you guys, and I'm just gonna wheel it anyway. So we drove around and we did some of the videos and went over some basic obstacles and stuff just to see if these welds and this stuff would hold together. Now, parts that didn't make it into the video was me getting upset and running through the washes at like 60 miles an hour and all that kind of stuff. And so nothing broke. But I talked about these being a temporary mount because I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to put the shock. I want to change these shocks out for real shocks. These actually work okay. They do better than you think they would, believe me. I'll actually rework these mounts. You can see they're deformed. The truck sits about probably 2.5, 3 inches lower in the front now than it did when I first started before we went out there. So long story short, don't half-ass stuff. Don't copy me. And take the time, do it right. If you can't do it or you don't know someone that can do it, find someone that can do it and help you fabricate good stuff. I should have taken the time. I knew that these were a little thin, and I thought with a little gusset and, you know, I'm not going to do anything. And you say that to yourself, and then you're lying to yourself, because I went out there knowing that these were thin, knowing that they could cause a problem, and sure enough, they deformed, bent, warped out, made all kinds of clanking noises and fun stuff. So learn from my mistakes. So today I replaced the power steering reservoir line to the cooler, and instead of spending $140 and getting this little aluminum hard line that they have, and then they have a little piece of rubber hose that goes up to the reservoir, and they have a little piece of rubber hose right here that went over to my cooler, which is kind of a joke if you want to call that a cooler. It's just a piece of tubing. Anyway, I bought a 4-foot section of 3/8 power steering hose, return hose. Cost me $10. reused my factory clamps. I ran the hose from here. I ran it through where the original line went. I zip tied it to the original hoses, and it's up to my reservoir. Now, will this last 240,000 more miles? Probably not. It's probably going to rub on the frame right here. It's going to rub on these metal clamps right here, and I'm going to go back and clean all this stuff up. But I just wanted you guys to see that you don't have to spend thousands and hundreds of dollars on stuff just to get stuff to work. So I'm going to run this hose. It's up to the power steering reservoir now. Redo the power steering fluid, and then reinstall the skid plate here. And then I'm going to jack this up and fix these lower shock mounts. This one's deformed a lot more than the other side. I think the other side just wallowed out where the shock, you can see where it was kind of moving around a little bit, and the mount is actually cutting into the adjuster. So it's a good thing I have these set where I wanted them, because I probably won't be able to adjust them after this. But as you can see, the upper control arms didn't bend, nothing broke, and nothing let go. So that was good. But not having power steering, anytime anybody who's ever wheeled without power steering or had the power steering fails knows that any kind of bump, rock, imperfection in the terrain will grab that steering wheel out of your hand in a heartbeat. So it doesn't matter how strong you are, it'll still get you. So you can see that we ended up putting this guy into a lot of trees and bushes. My son thought it was great, hence the reason why I don't worry too much about my paint like most people do. They're out there waxing it, polishing it, doing all that stuff. Maybe someday when I have time, I might do stuff like that, but put about 3 coats paint on here, wet sand it, polish it, buff it all out, it would look nice. But I really don't care that much, and I don't have that much time, so my truck doesn't look that way. Anyway, I'm going to take this apart, get these shock mounts gusseted up, and rework these guys back into shape, add some more plate, weld some more stuff in there, and keep it going for now. But I wanted to give you guys the lowdown on the end result. So all right, here we go. They're all finished. Quarter-inch plate, quarter-inch bottom plate, and they're tied into the ribbing and 3/16 plate bracing that I have inside these arms. A little bit ugly. Arms are ugly. Pretty much this whole truck is really all not that great, but it looks cool at a distance, I guess. So now if I go out onto the trail, even though I'm still 2-wheel drive, I don't have to worry about the arm collapsing, the shock mount collapsing into the arm, or any of that kind of stuff. So like what I had before. So it's all buttoned up. Hopefully I can get over to Victor's today, maybe talk him into going out on some trail runs later on this week, or maybe this weekend, and get you guys some footage of that. I'll try to do a full walk around on this guy, where it's at, what's on the inside. I know you guys are dying to know. You know, a guy that doesn't have a house anymore, lives in an RV and travels the country all over the place, what could he possibly have in his truck? So I'm gonna maybe make a video of that for you guys today, try and get over to Victor's house and get his truck on film for you guys. I know there's quite a few R51 Pathfinder fans that would love to get a closer look at his truck. So I'll get over there and get that done, and hopefully get you guys some more stuff and kind of keep it rolling. Again, as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and at least log on to my channel and go back through some of my other videos. I haven't quite figured out how to link them all together, but if you guys are watching this, go back and watch some of the other stuff. You can see how I got to this point, or whatever. And again, thanks, and have a good day.